Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Actors Area. I'm your host, Sean Grant. Happy Monday. Happy, wonderful day to you. As always, hope you're doing fantastic. Hope your career finds you feeling ready to thrive, ready to move into new experiences, ready to open yourself up to all that the universe has for you to experience the very best of not only your career, but just your life in general. Welcome to the Actors Area once again. Super excited, super happy that the Actors Area is now available on iTunes. So for all you guys and gals listening in from iTunes, welcome. We're very happy. It's a great opportunity to just spread the message of love and care and inspiration to actors and actresses all around the globe. Super happy about that. But let's get into today's topic. I told myself when I started the podcast, I was going to talk on this more so than I actually did. And, I think I've had like maybe one episode in the past year about it. But I do want to talk about this because I think this is something that really, it really is a prevalent thing for actors, actresses, and performers alike. And the reason it is a prevalent thing is because I often feel like as actors and actresses, we're given the tools to know how to take action. No pun intended. But we're not necessarily always given the tools to know how to pivot, right? And what I mean by pivot, in basketball, a pivot is basically a guy sticking one foot in the ground and then changing directions to get a better view or perspective of the court. Same goes with this, right? Sometimes you can be running full speed in one direction with one outcome in sight, tunnel vision on blast, when you've got to stick that one foot in the ground and immediately shift your perspective to the opposite direction and start running full speed in that direction as well. But a lot of times as actors and actresses, we only understand one speed, and that's go straight, go in one direction. When in actuality, zigzagging is more profitable, well, not profitable, but more useful in a career like this. And the reason I say that is because it's not linear. It's not linear in any form. And what I mean by that is it's just not one step right after the other. It's like a step forward, a step back, 10 steps forward, 5 steps to the right, 7 steps, zigzag to the left, 2 steps back again, then 10 steps forward. Like, that's what an acting career usually looks like before it actually takes off, in a sense, to where you're working without having to audition and stuff like that. And so, it's being able to know when to pivot when that comes, because you can really get stuck. You can really get stuck. And what I mean by getting stuck is doing the same stuff over and over and over again, right? The one issue that I find extremely prevalent oftentimes is that something in our career brings us success. And what do? We try to continue to do that same thing for years at a time when the universe is like clapping at us. Hey, this ain't gonna work anymore. You gotta find something different. You gotta reinvent yourself. You gotta be creative to discover a new path that's gonna help you grow as an actor, as a person, but is also going to give you success. You gotta find out what that is, right? And it never fails. If you're going to be in a business and have longevity in it, you're going to have to find ways to pivot and ways to step into being or having the ability to make a move, right? And not just make a move forward. It may be to make a move and cha-cha-cha side shuffle until you see an opening that you can move forward with, right? And so you may be wondering, okay, how does this work? I've got a perfect example. This was maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. And I've told this story before, but I just think it's an amazing story. It's a great example for how to pivot. I was acting. I had done a lot, but, actually I'd done a whole lot at that point. But, I was still attempting to reach, fame and all this other stuff and whatnot, which is, it's fun, but it's not as important as it used to be. But at this time, I wanted a bigger platform as an actor, right? And I felt like all of a sudden everything just dried up, right? Everything just dried up. And there was a reason that everything dried up, and it was because there was a new desire developing in me to want to develop my own content. But I couldn't focus on that completely while I was auditioning hardcore for other stuff because my energies were split. My energies were split. So you know what the universe did? It followed what my innate desire was. And so it dried up all of the auditions, dried up all of the other roles. And I was going to China at that time. Hong Kong, actually, not China. And ironically, I was in China and I found a camera, a DSLR camera that was just absolutely amazing. And it was like 80% off. And my wife and I, we just couldn't pass it up. Just couldn't pass it up. So I wound up buying that camera. And, one thing led to another. Came home, got on Amazon, bought some mics. And all of a sudden, I realized, unbeknownst to me, I was implementing that desire one step at a time, right? I desired to make my own content. And so that's when Empower Productions and Uplifter Entertainment was born, right? Empower Productions and Uplifter Entertainment was born. And so right after I developed those things, right after I developed that production company, Empower Productions and Uplifter Entertainment, I started to create so much different content involving what I was passionate about. And so if you go to my Facebook, you'll find a lot of these videos. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll find a lot of these videos. I'm still creating a lot of these videos to this day. And, I didn't make it a point to want to make it perfect because that would have hindered me, right? That would have hindered me. But what I did do is I made it a point to make sure that it expressed the desire that I had. So I went from doing things, I did something called the Empower segment where I talked about fitness, I talked about nutrition, I talked about spirituality, I talked about current events. I did 2 of these films, one called African Sunrise where I'm playing 2 different African characters, and then Stone Cold Consciousness where I'm a preacher and a thug, and the preacher is enlightening the thug about, everything that's going on inside of his mind. Eventually got a drone, started doing droning videos with voiceovers and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I just became kind of like this creative entity within my own little production company. And That was the pivot. I was completely stuck. I was so stuck by not being able to audition and get different acting roles until I was able to see that the divine wanted me to shuffle in a different direction and then take off sprinting in that direction. I wasn't going to be able to blast my feet to creative freedom as an actor. And I did this. And it hands down, it still is. When I watch a video and I see Empire Productions, Uplifter Entertainment, and that camera shutter, that's kind of been like my MO whenever I do a video for myself, is the camera clicks twice, right? Because it's picture perfect for me. So I came up with the camera click. And every time I see that, I become proud of myself for being able to find the strength to make that move, because it's not easy, because you're leaving behind something you know, and something you know is definite for something you don't know how it's going to turn out. But the truth of the matter is, it turned out better than I could have expected, and it will do the same for you. And so all I'm saying is, don't be afraid to pivot as an actor. Don't be afraid to pivot into a different direction, because right after I did all this stuff, then a year or so later, all the other opportunities to act and audition and stuff and book different roles came about. But it wasn't until I decided to let my own creativity out of the bag and do my own thing was I able to free myself from being stuck. So if you're stuck, ask yourself, okay, what direction do I need to move in? Right? I feel stuck. How do I get unstuck, but what direction do I need to move in that's best for me? And just wait. Wait for that information, that wisdom to be revealed, and then just go after it. Go after it without any hesitation, and I promise you, you will learn how to never be unstuck again after that experience. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today on the Actors Area. We will be back soon. Have a wonderful Monday. Good luck on your auditions and stuff. And thank you for joining us, all you new listeners here on iTunes. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to hear in. And we will talk soon. Thanks so much. Take care.